Hi, it's Chrispy Patty, and it's time to jump back into Frozen 2, The Enchanted Forest. It will be starting at Chapter 3. If you're just joining us, there's another video that has the beginning chapters, and there'll probably be some more after this as I read bits of it each day. Elsa quickly climbed out of the back of the wagon. She walked around a bend in the path and up a hill, marveling at what she saw in the distance. The view was so breathtaking, she wasn't even aware when the rest of the group joined her. The morning sun softly lit the vast open field stretched out below them. In the distance, shimmering mist formed a thick barrier that was impossible to see through from where they stood. The only evidence of anything beyond the mist was the sight of trees poking out way above it. Their pointed tops reached toward the sky. The group watched the mist as it rolled and sparkled with billowing lights that Elsa felt were magical. There was no doubt in their minds they had found the edge of the enchanted forest. It was even more amazing than Anna and Elsa had imagined it would be. As their father had told them when they were children, after the Northundra had received the gift of the dam from the Arendelians, there had been a great celebration and feast in the forest. He had explained, "We let down our guard. We were charmed. It felt so mystical, magical, but it was a trick. The Northuldra attacked us." He described how the wonderful celebration of peace turned into something terrible. It was a brutal battle. The king, my father, was lost. He went on to explain that all the fighting between the two groups had infuriated the spirits of nature. Chaos had consumed the forest. A boulder had landed at his feet, pushing him backward, and he'd hit his head on a stone and fallen unconscious. Yet he'd mysteriously managed to escape the forest. A most haunting voice cried out, and someone saved me. The spirits fell silent, and an impenetrable mist enveloped the forest, locking some in and the rest of us out. Since that day, no one had ever entered or left the forest. As Anna looked at the mist sparkling in the distance, her mind hung on that word, impenetrable, meaning impossible to get through. But they had to get through it if Elsa was going to do the next right thing and find the voice. Elsa suddenly gasped, breaking Anna out of her thoughts. An invisible force seemed to tug at her sister. Anna watched as Elsa quickly hurried over the ridge and down the side of the hill. Anna, Kristoff, Olaf, and Sven hurried after her. Elsa made it to the bottom, and without looking back, the young queen darted across the field. The others struggled to catch up. When they finally did, Elsa was standing at a good distance from the edge of the mist, staring at it thoughtfully. Kristoff slowly stepped up to the wall of gray that was keeping them out of the enchanted forest. He held his hand up and touched it lightly, which made it vibrate against his skin. When he pushed his hand into the mist pushed back. Upon seeing this, Olaf's eyes lit up as a wonderful idea popped into his mind. He backed up, ran toward the mist, and jumped against it. He giggled as he bounced off its springy surface. It became a game to him as he ran at it again and again, bouncing off it as if it were a balloon. Still gazing into the mist, Elsa took a deep breath. Then she slowly began to approach it. She paused, reached out, and grabbed Anna's hand. Holding on to her sister, she felt Anna's strength combine with her own. With that comfort, Elsa continued moving. They walked toward the mist, and Kristoff, Sven, and Olaf joined them. The mist sparkled and rolled back a little, revealing 4 giant stone monoliths, towering into the sky. In order to examine them more closely, they would actually have to step into the mist. But there was something about the stones that Elsa recognized. Even at that distance, the symbol on each one, air, fire, water, earth, she said. Anna turned to Elsa. Promise me we'll do this together, she said. I promise, said Elsa. They continued their journey with one step and then another. The mist rolled back a bit more, parting and creating a passageway for them. As they moved forward, they looked around curiously. Walking through the mist was like walking into a dream. When they made it inside the mist, the stones loomed over them. Elsa knew she had been right. The symbols carved into the pillars matched the etchings on the ice crystals she had created in Arendelle. She touched each one, when glittering ribbons of light appeared, interwoven in the mist. The group's attention moved from the stones. They watched the lights mesmerized as the colors flashed and gracefully danced before them. They were so dazzled that no one seemed to notice when the mist closed behind them, cutting off the way they had come in. Sven grunted nervously. It's okay, said Kristoff, trying to calm him. The group continued to watch, and soon the ribbons of light picked up speed, darting behind them like bolts of lightning. Then the mist began pushing against their backs. By this time, the force shoved them hard. They all shouted as the great strength of it pushed them into each other, making them run and stumble deeper into the mist, until they found themselves on the forest side. They had entered the enchanted forest. What was that? Kristoff, shaking it up. They all turned to see that the mist sparkled with faint specks again, no longer dancing with streams of concentrated light. Olaf grinned. He ran and jumped at it, now bouncing off the mist from the other side. Delighted, he continued to play with the trampoline like magic. The impenetrable mist had allowed them to enter the enchanted forest, but now they were trapped inside. Chapter 4. Boing, boing, boing! Olaf happily bounced against the mist again and again. Okay, it let us in, but it clearly doesn't want to let us out, said Kristoff. With one final bounce, Olaf fell to the ground, giggling. He wiggled around, settling into the feel of the soft, cushy earth beneath him before looking up. Bright side, the forest is beautiful, said Elsa, admiring the view of the vibrant fall. Foliage in warm reds, yellows, and oranges all around her. Everyone agreed with Elsa. The enchanted forest was staggeringly exquisite. It was as if they had entered an entirely different world. They slowly walked around, taking in its natural beauty. It was absolutely stunning. Elsa inhaled a deep breath. The air was fresh and the forest was quiet, calm, and still. She looked up and all the giant trees stretching so high, the tops disappearing in the mist. These must be the trees I saw when I was outside on the plain, she thought. That was when she noticed she couldn't see even one bit of sky. The mist blocked it completely. The bit of light from the sun that filtered through the mist made the colors of the forest shimmer with a warm glow. Star moss in all shades of green covered the ground like a soft carpet, and tiny patches of vibrant flowers and ferns peeked out from behind rocks and trees. Sven scratched his back against a wide, sturdy tree trunk, feeling its thick bark dig into his fur. Then he spotted another one to try and went over to test it out. He continued to go from tree to tree, scratching his back against each one as he passed. The golden leaves of one tree captivated Kristoff. The young man examined them closely, intrigued. They seem unreal, dangling delicately from beautiful arching white branches. Anna followed the shifting rays of sunlight cutting through the mist, sparkling with color and life as they led her over a small hill. She looked down and gasped at the remarkable sight. The dam, she said. It still stands. Kristoff went to her and looked out, appreciating the view. Anna couldn't help thinking about her father's story in the battle between the Northuldra and the Arendellians. She wondered why the Northuldra would attack her people after Arendellians had built the dam for them so that the two lands would be joined, and there would be more room for their reindeer to roam without crossing the treacherous river before we move on, here's a photo of the whole crew. It was one part of the story that had been had bothered her ever since she was a child. I'm pausing. One of my students gave me this homemade rubber band bracelet. It's really cool. I like it. She is the queen of my classroom, and she's 7, sorry. Since she was a child, where did the peace between the two groups go wrong, she thought. That part of the story seemed to be missing. Still in good shape, said Kristoff, gazing out at the dam. Thank goodness. What do you mean? Asked Anna, confused. Well, if the dam broke, it would send a tidal wave so big it would wash away everything on this fjord, he explained. Arendel's on this fjord, said Anna, her voice rising with worry. Nothing's going to happen to Arendelle, Anna, said Kristoff, putting his arm around her. It's going to be fine. Come here. Comforted, Anna leaned into him. She wrapped her arms around him, cuddling close. The two looked out, silently enjoying the view together for a moment, listening to the sound of the rushing water in the distance. An idea came to Kristoff. He reached into his pocket and dug around for the ring he had for Anna. It was made of gold with a special stone set in it, and he had forgotten that he had gotten from his troll family. Kristoff knew Anna would love it, and he was excited to give it to her, but he wanted the moment to be perfect, one they would both remember forever. Clasping the ring tightly in his palm, he thought it was time to try again. You know, he said, under different circumstances, this would be a pretty romantic place, don't you think? Different circumstances? Asked Anna, turning to look up at him, worry in her expression. You mean like with someone else? What? Kristoff asked, wondering how Anna would even ask that. Somehow things had taken a turn for the worst. He knew he had to hurry. No, I'm saying just in case we don't make it out of here. Anna pulled away and stared at him with a frown. Wait, what? You don't think we're going to make it out of here? No, said Kristoff, trying to laugh. For concern. I mean, we will make it out of here. He rambled nervously. Well, technically the odds are kind of complicated, but my point is, in case we die. You think we are going to die? Asked Anna, interrupting him again. No, Kristoff said, realizing once again that the proposal was not going as he had intended. For some reason, he just couldn't seem to find the right words to get back on track. He knew another chance was slipping away, making him fumble even more. No, we will die at some point, but not at any recent time will we die, but way far in the future we will die. Anna suddenly realized she didn't see her sister anywhere. Where's Elsa? She blurted, panicked. I swore I wouldn't leave her side. She abruptly ran off into the woods, shouting Elsa's name. Kristoff signed. Sven, who had been watching nearby, stepped up beside him. Kristoff looked over at the reindeer. I'm fine, he said quickly, but Sven had been Kristoff's friend for too long, and he knew that Kristoff was anything but fine. He rubbed his muzzle against his friend's shoulder, trying to comfort him. Anna frantically ran back toward the edge of the enchanted forest and began to search for her sister. But Elsa was nowhere to be found. And that will leave us at chapter 5. Thanks for joining, and we'll see you again. Peace, love, and keep reading.